My mother-in-law stood on a chair in the middle of my backyard, screaming at the top of her lungs and waving a pink balloon over her head like she'd just won the lottery. Meanwhile, I stood there with green confetti in my hair, watching the moment I dreamed about for months shatter into 1,000 pieces. Nobody clapped. Nobody cheered. 30 people just stared at her in complete silence while she celebrated my baby's gender reveal like it was her own personal Broadway show. Hi, I'm Emmy Damien, and if you're here because you saw the viral video of a woman climbing on furniture and screaming about someone else's baby, congratulations, that's my life now, and yes, that woman is my mother-in-law, Wendy. Before we dive into this absolute disaster, if you've ever dealt with a toxic family member who makes everything about themselves, hit that like button and subscribe, because trust me, this story is going to validate every frustration you've ever felt. And stick around until the end. The grandmother's reaction is absolutely legendary. Let me take you back to the beginning, so you can understand exactly how I ended up married to a wonderful man whose mother treats every family event like her personal audition for a reality TV show. 2 years ago, I married Alfred Damien in what should have been a beautiful, intimate wedding ceremony. I say should have been because my mother-in-law sobbed so loudly during our vows that Father Michael actually stopped mid-ceremony and asked if someone needed medical attention. "Is everything all right? Should we call 911?" he asked, genuinely concerned. I watched in horror as Wendy wailed, and I mean wailed like someone had died. Her face was buried in her hands, shoulders shaking dramatically. You would have thought we were at a funeral, not a wedding. My parents sat in the front row on my side, exchanging bewildered glances with my sisters, Rebecca and Sophie. Rebecca leaned over and whispered to my mom, loud enough that I heard it from the altar. "What is wrong with that woman?" That's when I met the hero of this story, Grandma Evelyn. Alfred's grandmother, Wendy's mother-in-law, reached over with her walking stick and poked her son Thomas right in the ribs. "Control your wife," she hissed, loud enough for our entire row to hear. Nobody believes this drama. Thomas turned bright red and whispered something to Wendy, who immediately tried to stifle her sobs into what I can only describe as hiccuping gasps. But the damage was done. Half our wedding video is just Wendy's theatrical crying. After the ceremony, my mom hugged me tight and whispered, "Honey, what was that about?" I didn't have an answer then. I still don't, honestly. My family stayed for the weekend. My parents, Dave and Samantha, along with Rebecca and Sophie, all flew out from New York for the wedding. We had an amazing time showing them around California, introducing them to Alfred's family. Well, most of them. Wendy spent the rehearsal dinner talking about herself. But when they flew back to New York, reality set in. This was my new life now, 3,000 miles from everyone I'd ever known. See, when Alfred and I got engaged, I knew moving to California meant leaving my entire family behind. My parents, my 2 sisters, my childhood friends, everyone. But Alfred had already established his career as a marketing supervisor here, bought a house, built a life, and the job paid well, really well. It made sense for me to move. I found a position as an accountant at a firm in town, and honestly, life was good. Alfred is amazing. Thoughtful, supportive, funny. He makes me laugh every single day. His family seemed lovely too. Thomas, my father-in-law, is quiet but kind. He works in construction and mostly keeps to himself. Holly, Alfred's younger sister, became one of my closest friends almost immediately. She's a teacher, loves true crime podcasts, and has the same sarcastic sense of humor I do. And then there's Wendy. Wendy Damien is 52 years old and has never met a moment she didn't want to make about herself. At family dinners, she dominates every conversation with long, elaborate stories that nobody asked for. She'll spend 20 minutes describing her trip to the grocery store like it's an epic adventure novel. She'll say, gesturing wildly with her wine glass, "The cashier told me I looked too young to have a son Alfred's age. Can you believe it? She thought I was his sister." Everyone just nods politely. Thomas stares at his plate. Holly texts under the table. Grandma Evelyn mutters things like, "Here we go again," into her napkin. At Holly's birthday party last year, Wendy wore a dress that was somehow more formal than what the birthday girl wore. She positioned herself in every single photo, always front and center. When it came time to sing Happy Birthday, her voice was so loud it drowned everyone else out. I just have a naturally strong singing voice, she told me afterward, completely oblivious to Holly's irritated expression. The worst part? She's insanely jealous of me. Alfred is her baby boy. Her words, not mine. Never mind that he's 29 years old, owns his own home, and has a successful career. To Wendy, he's still her precious little baby who could never possibly love anyone more than his mommy. She makes little comments, passive-aggressive observations that sound sweet but have just enough bite to sting. Oh, you're making pot roast? Alfred always loved my pot roast. I use a secret ingredient. It's okay, though. You'll figure it out eventually. That color looks interesting on you. I always thought Alfred preferred women in softer tones, but maybe he's changed. Alfred notices. He always apologizes after family gatherings, promises to talk to her, but Wendy is a master at playing the victim. I was just trying to be helpful. Why is everyone so sensitive? Grandma Evelyn thankfully sees right through her. She's told me multiple times that Wendy has always been dramatic and attention-seeking, even when she first married into the family 30 years ago. I told Thomas not to marry her, Grandma Evelyn said once over tea, completely matter of fact. But men don't listen. Despite Wendy's best efforts to make me feel unwelcome, I was genuinely happy. Alfred and I built a beautiful life together. We traveled, renovated our home, adopted a dog named Biscuit, and then 4 months ago, I found out I was pregnant. I took 3 tests just to be sure, all positive. I was shaking when I showed Alfred, tears streaming down my face, happy tears this time. "We're having a baby," I whispered. Alfred picked me up and spun me around our kitchen, laughing and crying at the same time. "We're having a baby," he shouted. It was perfect. We called my family immediately. They screamed so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. My mom cried. My dad said he was proud of me. My sisters started planning to visit. We waited a few weeks before telling Alfred's family, wanting to get through the first trimester safely. When we finally announced it at Sunday dinner, the reactions were mixed. Thomas smiled and shook Alfred's hand. "Congratulations," he said. Holly jumped up and hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe, already talking about being the cool aunt. Grandma Evelyn raised her wine glass. "About time. I want to meet my great-grandchild before I die." "And Wendy?" Wendy screamed, literally screamed, then burst into tears and rushed around the table to throw her arms around Alfred. My baby boy is having a baby!" She didn't hug me, didn't even look at me, just clung to Alfred while he stood there awkwardly patting her back. "Mom, Emmy's the one who's pregnant," he said gently, trying to redirect her attention. "Oh, yes! Of course!" Wendy finally released him and gave me a quick, obligatory hug. "Congratulations, Emma. It's Emmy." Right. Emmy. She's called me Emma approximately 40 times since I married her son. At this point, I think it's deliberate. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This drama is about to get so much worse. At 15 weeks, we had our anatomy scan scheduled. Holly practically begged to come with us. "Please, I want to be there for this. Your sisters can't fly out, so let me be the surrogate sister," she said. I hesitated, looking at Alfred. "I think it's sweet," he said. "Besides, she's going to be the cool aunt. Might as well start now." So Holly came to the appointment, squeezing my hand while the ultrasound technician moved the wand across my belly. We saw our baby's tiny hands, the flutter of a heartbeat, those little feet kicking. "Everything looks perfect," the technician said, smiling. "Would you like to know the sex?" Alfred and I looked at each other. We'd talked about this. "Actually," I said, "we want to do a gender reveal. Could you write it down and seal it in an envelope?" "Of course." The technician scribbled something on a piece of paper, folded it carefully, and slipped it into a pink envelope. She handed it to me with a smile. "Congratulations." In the parking lot, Holly held out her hand. "Give it to me. I'll plan everything." "Holly, are you sure? That's a lot of work." "Are you kidding? I live for this stuff. Please, I'll make it perfect. You and Alfred just show up and pop the balloon." I handed over the envelope. Holly held it up dramatically. "I will be the only one who knows the gender," she declared. "I'm taking this secret to my grave, or, to next Saturday." Alfred laughed. "No pressure or anything. I've got this. Trust me." Holly decided on dark blue balloons, Alfred's favorite color, so the color wouldn't give anything away. 2 balloons, she planned excitedly. You and Alfred can each pop one at the same time. Double the excitement, and I'll put the confetti in myself. Nobody else touches these balloons. The week leading up to the party, Wendy called me every single day. I want to help with the party planning. Holly has it covered, but thank you. I could make my famous 7-layer dip. Everyone loves my 7-layer dip. Holly's handling the food, but I appreciate it. What about decorations? I have the best eye for decorations. Remember Holly's baby shower? Oh wait, that wasn't Holly, that was my friend Linda's daughter. But still, I decorated and everyone said it looked amazing. Wendy, really, Holly wants to do this herself. There was a pause. When she spoke again, her voice had that edge to it, that passive-aggressive sweetness that made my skin crawl. I just want to be involved in my grandchild's life, Emmy. Is that so wrong? Of course not. You'll be at the party. That's being involved. Okay, if you're sure you don't need my help. I told Alfred about the calls. He sighed and rubbed his temples. I'll talk to her. Please do. Holly's put so much work into this. I don't want your mom taking over. I know. I'll handle it. He did talk to her. I know because Wendy called me the next day, voice dripping with wounded innocence. Alfred says I'm being too pushy about the party. I didn't mean to overstep. I'm just excited. We're all excited. We just want to let Holly have this, you know? She's really looking forward to it. Of course. I understand completely. I won't mention it again. She didn't mention it again, but I should have known better. I should have known that Wendy Damien doesn't just step back from the spotlight. She burns the whole stage down before she lets someone else have it. Saturday arrived sunny and perfect. Holly had transformed our backyard into something out of a magazine. White and gold balloon garlands, a banner reading boy or girl stretched between 2 trees, tables with blue tablecloths and fresh flowers. Holly, this is incredible, I told her, tears already forming. Stupid pregnancy hormones, only the best for my niece or nephew. She hugged me carefully, like I might break. Now go get ready, guests arrive in an hour. I video called my family while getting dressed. My mom, Dad, Rebecca, and Sophie crowded around their phone screen in my childhood living room. We wish we could be there in person, my mom said, eyes already red. Me too, but you'll see everything. Holly promised to keep you guys on FaceTime the whole time. I can't believe my baby is having a baby. My dad said, voice thick with emotion, Dad, don't make me cry. I just did my makeup. By 2 o'clock, our backyard was filled with about 30 people. Alfred's coworkers, some of my friends from work, neighbors, family. Thomas manned the grill. Grandma Evelyn held court in a lawn chair, accepting well wishes like a queen, and Wendy wore a hot pink dress that was somehow both too formal and too revealing for a backyard party. She'd clearly spent hours on her hair and makeup. She positioned herself near the entrance, greeting every guest like she was the hostess. Welcome, so glad you could make it, she said to each arrival. Yes, that's my son Alfred and his wife Emma. I mean Emmy. She's the pregnant one. I'm going to be a grandmother. Can you believe it? Everyone says I look too young. Holly caught my eye and made a face. I tried not to laugh. Alfred squeezed my hand. You okay? Yeah, just your mom is a lot. I know, but hey, in a few hours, this'll be over, and we'll know if we're having a boy or a girl. He was right. I could handle Wendy for a few hours. This day was about our baby. Holly got everyone's attention, calling them to gather around the center of the yard. She had my phone set up so my family could see everything. Hi, Dave. Hi, Samantha. Hi, Rebecca and Sophie. I waved at the screen. They waved back frantically. 2 large dark blue balloons sat on a small table. They were beautiful, elegant, and mysterious. Okay, Holly announced. Inside these balloons is either pink or blue confetti, revealing whether baby Damien is a boy or a girl. Emmy and Alfred have no idea. I'm the only one who knows. The crowd cheered. I felt Alfred's arm around my waist, steadying me. My heart was racing. This was it. In a few seconds, we'd know. We'd know if we were painting the nursery pink or blue, if we were buying dresses or tiny suits, if Alfred would be teaching his son or daughter to ride a bike someday. On 3, Holly said, grinning. 1, 2, 3. Alfred and I reached for the balloons at the same time. We each grabbed one. Pop! Pop! Green confetti exploded everywhere. Green. I stared at the green paper fluttering down around us. It coated my hair, my dress, the grass. Green? What? Alfred sounded as confused as I felt. Why is it green? The crowd murmured. People laughed nervously, thinking maybe it was a joke. Holly's face had gone pale. That's not... I didn't. Before anyone could process what was happening, a voice shrieked from behind us. Wait, I have the real one. I turned just in time to see Wendy dragging a chair across the lawn. No, she wouldn't, but she did. Wendy climbed onto that chair in her ridiculous pink dress and heels. She held an enormous pink balloon above her head like a trophy. Wendy, what are you doing? Thomas called out, sounding horrified. Get down! She ignored him completely. Her voice rang out across the backyard, loud and shrill. It's a girl! She popped the balloon with a dramatic flourish. Pink confetti rained down everywhere. Wendy kept going, her voice getting louder and more excited with each word. It's a girl! We're having a girl! A beautiful baby girl! She started bouncing on the chair, waving her arms. This is so exciting! A girl! Can you believe it? A girl! My vision blurred. I felt Alfred's hand tighten on my waist. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. I'd imagined this moment for months. Alfred and I together finding out if our baby was a boy or girl, sharing that joy with our families. My parents watching from New York, crying happy tears. Instead, Wendy stood on a chair, arms raised like she'd won a prize, celebrating like this was her baby while I stood there with green confetti in my hair and my heart breaking. The crowd was silent. Not a single person clapped. Not one. I watched Wendy's arms slowly lower as she looked around. Her smile started to fade. It's a girl? Her voice got quieter, uncertain. Still, nobody made a sound. The silence stretched out, uncomfortable and heavy. Someone's baby whimpered in the distance. A bird called from somewhere. Wendy stood on that chair, pink confetti settling around her feet. She was slowly realizing that something had gone very, very wrong. Then Grandma Evelyn's voice cut through the silence like a knife. Get down from that chair right now! Everyone jumped. Wendy nearly fell off the chair. Grandma Evelyn pushed herself up from her lawn chair. Walking stick in hand, she marched toward Wendy with the fury of a woman who'd had enough. 30 years! Grandma Evelyn's voice carried across the entire yard. 30 years I've watched you make everything about yourself. Every birthday, every holiday, every family gathering. It always has to be the Wendy show. Mother Evelyn, I was just... Wendy started. You were just stealing the spotlight. Again! Grandma Evelyn pointed her walking stick at Wendy like a weapon. You're an attention seeker. A spotlight hog. You can't stand it when someone else gets to have a moment, can you? Wendy climbed down from the chair. Her face was bright red. I was excited about my grandchild. Excited? Grandma Evelyn's laugh was sharp. You sabotaged those balloons. You snuck around like a thief and switched them out so you could be the one to announce it. That's not excitement, Wendy. That's pure selfishness. The guests stood frozen. They watched this unfold like it was a car crash they couldn't look away from. You ruined their wedding with your theatrical sobbing, Grandma Evelyn continued. She was just getting started. You've ruined every family dinner with your endless, boring stories that nobody wants to hear. You show up to other people's birthdays dressed like you're the guest of honor. Everything has to be about you. That's not true, Wendy protested weakly. Isn't it? Grandma Evelyn looked around at the crowd. Has anyone here ever had a conversation with Wendy where she didn't talk about herself for 20 minutes straight? Uncomfortable silence. A few people looked at their shoes. You don't even notice, do you? Grandma Evelyn's voice dropped lower. Somehow, that was worse than the shouting. You don't notice how people avoid you, how they make excuses not to invite you to things, how your own daughter-in-law looks stressed every time you walk in the room. I felt tears streaming down my face. Alfred's arm tightened around me. You don't notice, Grandma Evelyn continued, because you're too busy thinking about yourself, too busy planning your next big moment, too busy making sure all eyes are on you. Mother Evelyn, please. Thomas tried to intervene. His face was pale. John Thomas Damien! Grandma Evelyn rounded on her son. Don't you dare defend her. I told you it was a mistake marrying her. I told you she was trouble. But you didn't listen, and now look, she's ruining your son's life too. Thomas's mouth opened and closed. No words came out. Grandma Evelyn turned back to Wendy. She was crying now, real tears this time. Not theatrical ones. Look at them, Grandma Evelyn said. She gestured to Alfred and me. Look at what you did. Your son, who you claim to love so much, is standing there heartbroken. His wife, the mother of your grandchild, is crying. You stole their moment. You made their special day about you. And you don't even care, do you?" "I do care," Wendy said, her voice breaking. "No. You care about being the center of attention. You care about people looking at you, talking about you, noticing you. That's all you've ever cared about." Wendy's face crumpled completely. "I just wanted to be part of it." "You were part of it." Holly's voice rang out. It was thick with tears. "You were invited. You were here. You could have celebrated with them like a normal person. But that wasn't enough for you, was it? You had to be the one. You had to be the star." "Holly, sweetheart," Wendy reached toward her. "Don't." Holly's voice cracked. "Don't try to explain. I know what you did. You switched the balloons I spent hours preparing. You ruined everything I worked for. For what? So you could stand on a chair and make a scene?" The crowd was completely silent now. Even the children had stopped making noise. Aunt Susan, Thomas's sister, spoke up from the crowd. Her voice was cold. "You really love the spotlight, don't you, Wendy?" A few people murmured agreement. Wendy looked around wildly. She was searching for a friendly face, someone to defend her. Nobody did. Alfred's co-worker, Janet, shook her head and walked toward the gate. "I'm going to go." "I'm sorry, Alfred. Congratulations on the baby girl," she said quietly. That seemed to break the spell. Other guests started making their exits. They murmured apologies and congratulations as they passed us, carefully avoiding looking at Wendy. Within 5 minutes, half the party had left. Wendy stood alone in the center of the yard. Pink confetti was scattered around her feet. "I didn't mean," she started. Her voice was barely a whisper now. "Yes, you did," Grandma Evelyn said. Her anger had burned out, leaving only disgust. "You meant every bit of it. You always do." She turned to me. Her expression softened. "Emmy, dear, I'm sorry you had to deal with this. Congratulations on your baby girl. She's lucky to have you as a mother." Then she looked at Alfred. "Take your wife inside. She doesn't need to see this anymore." Alfred nodded. His jaw was tight. "Come on, Em." As we walked toward the house, I heard Wendy's voice behind us. It was plaintive and desperate. "Alfred? Alfred, honey, please?" He didn't turn around. Holly grabbed my phone and followed us. My family's shocked faces were still visible on the screen. The last thing I heard before we went inside was Grandma Evelyn's voice, sharp and final. "Thomas, take your wife and leave, now." "Mother, maybe we should," Thomas started. "The sight of her is making my blood boil." Grandma Evelyn's walking stick hit the ground with a sharp crack. "Get her out of here before I say something I'll regret. Or worse, before I do something I'll regret." "Come on, Wendy," Thomas said quietly. He was finally finding his spine. "Let's go home." "But I need to explain," Wendy pleaded. "There's nothing to explain," Grandma Evelyn said coldly. "You sabotaged your son's gender reveal for attention. Everyone saw it. Everyone knows what you did. Now get out." Through the window, I watched Thomas take Wendy's arm. He guided her toward the side gate. She was still crying, still trying to talk to anyone who would listen. But the remaining guests turned away from her. Not one person said goodbye to her. Not one. The gate closed behind them. A car door slammed. An engine started. And just like that, Wendy was gone. Holly set my phone down on the kitchen counter and immediately pulled me into a hug. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "Emmy, I'm so sorry." I couldn't speak. I just stood there letting her hold me while I cried. Alfred wrapped his arms around both of us, and for a long moment, we just stood there in our kitchen, the three of us holding each other while the disaster of the day slowly sank in. On the counter, my phone buzzed. A text from my mom appeared on the screen. The message read, "Call us when you're ready. We love you. Take your time." "I ruined everything," Holly said, pulling back with tears streaming down her face. "Stop," Alfred said firmly. "This isn't your fault, Hull. This is Mom's fault." "But how did she even know it was a girl?" I asked. Holly wiped her eyes bitterly. "Mom came to my apartment yesterday while I was preparing everything, said she wanted to drop me some food. I left the 'It's a Girl' banner on my coffee table. She must have seen it. That's probably how she knew to bring the green confetti balloons and her pink one. And a normal person wouldn't have used that to sabotage someone's gender reveal," I said. "Holly, you did something beautiful for us. Your mom destroyed it. That's on her." Holly nodded, still looking miserable. The back door opened. Grandma Evelyn walked in, looking exhausted but somehow satisfied. "Well," she said, settling into one of our kitchen chairs with a heavy sigh, "that needed to happen about years ago." "Grandma," Alfred started. "Don't. I know what you're going to say. She's still your mother. She means well. She's just enthusiastic. Save it. I've heard every excuse in the book. Your mother is a narcissist, Alfred. Always has been. I tried to warn your father, but he didn't listen." Grandma said. She looked at me. Her expression softened. "How are you holding up, dear?" "I don't know," I admitted. I'm so tired." "Of course you are. You're pregnant. You should be celebrating right now, and instead you're dealing with my daughter-in-law's theatrics." She shook her head. "I'm sorry, Emmy. Truly. It's not your fault." "Maybe not, but I should have put my foot down harder years ago. I let Thomas make excuses for her. Let the family pretend her behavior was harmless, and now look where we are." Alfred pulled out a chair and sat down heavily. "What do I do now?" "What do you mean?" Grandma Evelyn asked. "She's my mom. I can't just cut her off." "Can I?" "Can't you?" Grandma Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "Alfred, that woman just humiliated your wife in front of 30 people. She sabotaged one of the most important moments of your lives. She made your baby's gender reveal about her. If that doesn't deserve consequences, what does? You need to set boundaries or she will stay toxic." "But she'll play the victim," Alfred said. "Let her," Grandma Evelyn said bluntly. "Let her cry and wail and tell everyone how mean you are. People who know her, really know her, they already see through it. Everyone else? Their opinion doesn't matter." Holly sat down at the table too. "Grandma's right. Mom's been getting away with this stuff forever because everyone's too polite to call her out. Maybe it's time someone did." Alfred looked at me. "What do you want, Em? I'll do whatever you need." I thought about it. Really thought about it. "Grandma Evelyn is right. I want boundaries," I said finally. "Real ones. Not we'll talk to her boundaries that never actually happen. I want her to understand that what she did was wrong, and I want her to apologize. A real apology. Not I'm sorry you feel that way or I was just excited. A real, genuine apology." "And if she won't?" Alfred asked quietly. "Then she doesn't to be part of our lives, or our daughter's life." The words hurt to say, but I meant them. I'm not raising my child around someone who treats people this way, who makes everything about herself, who steals moments that don't belong to her. Alfred nodded slowly. "Okay, then that's what we'll do." "You mean it?" I searched his face. "Because she's going to call, probably tonight, and she's going to cry and make you feel guilty." "I mean it," he said. "I should have done this a long time ago. I let her treat you badly because I kept making excuses for her. That's just how she is. She doesn't mean it, but you're my wife, you're the mother of my child, and I choose you. Always." I felt fresh tears welling up, but these were different, not heartbroken tears, something else. "Thank you," I whispered. Grandma Evelyn stood up, using her walking stick for support. "Good. Now that that's settled, I'm going home. This much excitement isn't good for my blood pressure." "Grandma, wait," Holly said. "What about Dad? He's going to call and try to smooth things over. He always does. Let him try." Grandma Evelyn's smile was grim. "Maybe it's time Thomas learned that enabling Wendy's behavior doesn't help anyone, including Wendy." She walked over and patted my shoulder. "Congratulations on your baby girl, dear. Despite everything, that's wonderful news. Thank you. And remember, you're tougher than you think. Don't let that woman break you." After she left, the three of us sat at the kitchen table in silence. Holly grabbed both our hands. "I'm going to be an aunt. To a little girl." "The coolest aunt," I said. "Obviously." She squeezed my hand. "And I promise, next baby milestone, I'm handcuffing those balloons to my wrist. Mom's not getting anywhere near them." We all laughed. Tired, slightly hysterical laughter, but real nonetheless. The back door opened again. Grandma Evelyn poked her head in. "I changed my mind. Hey, everyone who's still here, come on, let's eat." She banged her walking stick on the door frame. "Too much yelling made me hungry. No sense letting all this food go to waste." Alfred blinked. "Grandma, are you serious?" "As a heart attack. Holly worked hard on this party. I'm not letting Wendy ruin the whole day." She looked at me. "Unless you want everyone to leave, dear? It's your call." I thought about it. Part of me wanted everyone gone so I could curl up in bed and cry. But another part of me, a bigger part, didn't want to give Wendy that much power. She'd already stolen the reveal moment. I wasn't going to let her steal the whole celebration. Let's eat, I said. Grandma Evelyn's face broke into a proud smile. That's my girl. Come on, then. Thomas made enough burgers to feed an army, and I'm not leaving until I get at least 2. We walked back outside. About 15 people had stayed. Close friends, a few neighbors, and Aunt Susan. They looked uncertain, like they weren't sure if they should still be there. Don't just stand there looking awkward, Grandma Evelyn called out. Food's getting cold. We've got a baby girl to celebrate. Aunt Susan was the first to move. She walked over and hugged me tight. Congratulations, Emmy. Don't let her ruin this for you. I'm trying not to. Good. Now I'm starving, and I heard there's 7-layer dip that Wendy did not make, thank God, she said. That got a few laughs. The tension broke. People started moving toward the food tables. Holly turned on music from her phone. Someone's kid started chasing the confetti blowing around the yard, both pink and green. My phone buzzed. My mom was calling. I answered. Hi, Mom. Oh, sweetheart. Her voice was thick with emotion. Are you okay? I'm getting there. I looked around at the people who'd stayed, the ones who were actually here to celebrate with us, not to make it about themselves. We're about to eat. Do you guys want to stay on the call? If that's okay. It's more than okay. I propped the phone up on the food table so my family could see. Rebecca immediately started complimenting the decorations. Sophie asked if there was any cake left. Alfred brought me a plate with a burger, potato salad, and fruit. Eat something, for the baby. For our daughter, I corrected. His smile was soft and genuine. For our daughter. Grandma Evelyn sat down in her lawn chair with a heaping plate. She looked more satisfied than anyone had a right to be after the chaos that had just unfolded. Now this is a proper party, she announced to no one in particular. Good food, good company, and no spotlight-stealing nonsense ruining everything. Holly snorted into her lemonade, and somehow, despite everything, despite the green confetti still scattered across the lawn and the pink confetti stuck in my hair, and the fact that my gender reveal had turned into a family intervention, I found myself laughing. Really, genuinely laughing. Because we were having a girl. And the people who actually mattered were here celebrating with us. Everything else, we'd deal with it later. If you're invested in this story, make sure you're subscribed because you need to hear what happens next. Trust me, it gets even more dramatic. The car ride was silent for the first 10 minutes. Wendy stared out the passenger window. Mascara was still streaked down her face. Pink confetti was still caught in her hair. Her hands were clenched in her lap, knuckles white. Thomas gripped the steering wheel. His jaw was tight. He said nothing. Finally, Wendy broke the silence. I can't believe they treated me like that, she said. Her voice was small and wounded. In front of everyone, your own mother. Don't. Thomas's voice was flat. Don't start. But I was just... Wendy, I said don't. She fell silent, but only for a moment. I was just excited about the baby. Is that so wrong? I'm going to be a grandmother, and You sabotaged their gender reveal. Thomas's hands tightened on the wheel. You switched the balloons. You planned the whole thing so you could be the center of attention. I didn't. Yes, you did. His voice rose. Wendy actually flinched. Thomas never yelled. Never. Don't lie to me, Wendy. Not now. Not after that. Thomas, do you have any idea how humiliating that was? He pulled up to a red light and finally turned to look at her. His face was gray, exhausted. Watching my mother tear into you in front of 30 people? Watching our son look at you like he didn't even recognize you? Watching all those people leave because they were so uncomfortable? They're all overreacting. No, the light turned green. Thomas drove through it now. His voice was getting louder. No, Wendy, they're not overreacting. You went too far. Again. What do you mean again? This isn't the first time. Thomas's voice cracked. This isn't the first time you've embarrassed me. Embarrassed our family. You sobbed so loud at Alfred's wedding that the priest stopped the ceremony. Do you remember that? Father Michael asked if someone needed an ambulance. I was emotional. You were making it about yourself, just like you always do. He pulled into their driveway and threw the car into park. Holly's birthday last year. You wore a fancier dress than she did and positioned yourself in every single photo. Thanksgiving. You spent an hour criticizing Emmy's cooking in front of everyone. Every family dinner, every holiday, every single gathering. It's always the Wendy show. Wendy's lip trembled. That's not fair. It's completely fair. Thomas got out of the car and slammed the door. Wendy scrambled to follow him. Thomas, please. He unlocked the front door and walked inside. Wendy trailed behind him. The house felt too quiet, too empty after all the chaos. Thomas turned to face her in the entryway. We're going over there tomorrow. What? To Alfred and Emmy's house. Tomorrow. And you're going to apologize. Wendy's face went red. I'm not apologizing for being excited about my grandchild. You're apologizing for ruining their moment. Thomas's voice echoed through the house. You're apologizing for sabotaging Holly's hard work. You're apologizing for making Emmy cry. You're apologizing for humiliating our son in front of his friends and coworkers. I won't, Wendy said. She crossed her arms. Her jaw was set stubbornly. I won't apologize for something I didn't do wrong. Wendy, no, everyone is being so mean to me. I was just trying to be part of it, trying to share in the joy, and everyone treated me like I'm some kind of monster. You are acting like a monster, Thomas shouted. You stole their moment. You made their baby's gender reveal about you. I was excited. Then you should have let them pop the balloons. You should have cheered with everyone else. You should have celebrated with them instead of climbing on a chair screaming like a banshee. Wendy's eyes filled with tears. Real ones this time. How can you talk to me like this? I'm your wife, and Alfred is my son. Emmy is my daughter-in-law. They're having my grandchild, and you just ruined one of the most important moments of their lives. Thomas ran his hands through his hair. He looked more defeated than angry now. Do you even care? Do you even realize what you did? Of course I care. Then prove it. Come with me tomorrow and apologize. No. Wendy, I said no. Her voice rose to a shriek. I'm not going to grovel and beg for forgiveness when I didn't do anything wrong. If they can't see that I was just trying to be involved, that's their problem. Thomas stared at her, really looked at her, and for the first time in their 30 years of marriage, he saw her clearly. Saw the selfishness, the narcissism, the complete inability to take responsibility for her actions. His mother had been right all along. You're too much, Wendy, he said quietly. What? You're too much. His voice was empty, hollow. You're too loud, too dramatic, too selfish, too much. Wendy's face crumpled. Thomas, I'm going to bed. He turned toward the stairs. I have to work in the morning, and then I'm going to my son's house to apologize for you, whether you come or not. You can't just... I can. He stopped on the stairs and looked back at her. And if you don't come with me, if you don't genuinely apologize to Alfred and Emmy, then I don't know what happens to us, Wendy. I really don't. Are you threatening me? No, I'm telling you the truth. Our son might cut you out of his life, out of his daughter's life. And honestly, his voice broke. I wouldn't blame him. He climbed the stairs. Each step was heavier than the last. Wendy stood alone in the entryway. Pink confetti was still in her hair, and for the first time in a very long time, she had no audience. No one to perform for, no one watching. Just silence, and the slow, creeping realization that maybe, just maybe, she'd gone too far this time. But even then, even in that moment, she couldn't bring herself to admit she was wrong, because that would mean she wasn't the victim. And Wendy had been the victim in her own story for so long she didn't know how to be anything else. The next morning, I woke up to my phone buzzing nonstop with notifications. Wendy had posted on Facebook at midnight. The post read, My heart is broken. I tried to share in my grandbaby's joy and was attacked and humiliated by my own family. All I wanted was to celebrate this precious life. Apparently, a mother's love means nothing anymore. She'd added a broken heart emoji and a crying face. But an hour later, Aunt Susan had responded, not with words, but with a video. Someone had filmed the entire gender reveal disaster. Every second. The green confetti confusion, Wendy climbing on the chair, her celebrating, the dead silence, Grandma Evelyn's epic call-out. Aunt Susan's post was simple. It's Wendy wants to play eternal victim. Here's what actually happened. Watch and tell me, who's the real victim here? The pregnant woman whose moment was stolen, or the attention seeker who planned this stunt? I'm done making excuses for this behavior. The video went viral. Within hours, hundreds of shares, thousands of views. The comments were brutal. Then, a few hours later, Aunt Susan commented directly on Wendy's original post before she could delete it. The comment read, Hey Wendy. Mom Evelyn said don't you ever show your face at any family gatherings anymore. You might just embarrass yourself again, or worse, give us more content for the internet. You're banned, permanently." She'd added a smiley face emoji at the end. By noon, Wendy had deleted her post. But the internet never forgets. The video was everywhere. My coworkers had seen it. Our neighbors had seen it. People I hadn't talked to in years were texting me about it. Alfred groaned when he saw his phone. "My boss sent me the link." "My boss? This is mortifying. At least everyone can see what actually happened," I said. "She can't spin this as her being the victim." "She'll try," he said darkly. He was right. Within an hour, Wendy posted again. The new post said, "I cannot believe someone would post a private family moment online to humiliate me. This is cyberbullying, and I may need to contact a lawyer about this." The comments on that post were even less sympathetic. Then, to our surprise, Grandma Evelyn commented. Her comment read, "Wendy, delete this nonsense before you embarrass yourself further. That ship has sailed, but you're currently rowing it in circles. Signed, Evelyn." Alfred actually laughed when he read that. Grandma discovered Facebook. The next morning, there was a knock on our door at 9 in the morning. I opened it to find Thomas standing on our porch alone. He looked terrible, like he hadn't slept in days. His eyes were red, his shoulders slumped. "She wouldn't come," he said as soon as Alfred appeared behind me. I asked her to apologize. I begged her. She refused. She still thinks she did nothing wrong. We invited him in. He sat on our couch looking like he might break. "I'm so sorry," he said. His voice was cracking. "For everything. For years of making excuses for her. For not standing up to her. For letting her treat you this way, Emmy. I knew it was happening and I just kept hoping she'd change. That it would get better." "Dad," Alfred started. "No, let me finish." Thomas wiped his eyes. "I watched that video. I watched your face, Emmy, when those green balloons popped. I watched you realize what she'd done, and I stood there and did nothing. Again, like I always do." "You're here now," I said softly. "It's too late. I should have done this 20 years ago." He looked at Alfred. "Your grandmother was right. She warned me not to marry Wendy, said she was trouble. I didn't listen. And now my son might cut me out of his life because of her." "We're not cutting you out," Alfred said. "But Mom, we can't have her around. Not until she genuinely apologizes and changes. And honestly, I don't think that's going to happen." Thomas nodded sadly. "Neither do I." We talked for another hour. Thomas apologized over and over, promised he'd respect whatever boundaries we set, said he understood if we needed space. Before he left, he hugged me carefully. "Congratulations on your daughter. You're going to be an amazing mother." "Thank you." He left looking smaller somehow, older. Alfred closed the door and leaned against it. "That was hard." "Yeah, but necessary," I said. We moved 2 months before our daughter was born, not across the country. Alfred's job was here, and we didn't want to leave Holly and Grandma Evelyn. But we moved 2 hours away, far enough that surprise visits weren't possible, close enough that the people we actually wanted to see could visit with notice. Our daughter, Maya Rose Damien, was born on a sunny Tuesday morning in March. She had Alfred's eyes and my nose and the most perfect little fingers I'd ever seen. Thomas visited at the hospital. He cried when he held her. "She's beautiful," he said. Holly came every weekend, completely obsessed with her niece. She'd already bought enough baby clothes to last until Maya was 5. Grandma Evelyn visited once a month, bringing homemade blankets and unsolicited but appreciated advice. Wendy never apologized. She sent a card when Maya was born. Generic, purchased from a drugstore, signed simply Grandma Wendy. No acknowledgement of what she'd done. No real apology. Alfred sent it back unopened. She tried calling. Alfred blocked her number. She asked Thomas, begging him to make Alfred see reason. Thomas told her she knew what she needed to do to fix this, and until she did it, there was nothing he could do. We set clear boundaries. Wendy was not allowed to visit, not allowed to meet Maya, not allowed at family gatherings we attended. And if she ever genuinely apologized and made real changes, she would never, ever be alone with our daughter. Some people thought we were being too harsh. But most people, especially those who'd seen the video, understood. You don't get unlimited chances to hurt people just because you're family. And you definitely don't get to steal someone's precious moments and then play the victim when there are consequences. One evening, when Maya was 3 months old, I sat in her nursery rocking her to sleep. Alfred stood in the doorway, watching us with that soft smile he always got when he looked at his daughter. No regrets? He asked quietly. About moving? About the boundaries? Yeah. I looked down at Maya's peaceful sleeping face, thought about the quiet, drama-free months we'd had, the joy of being new parents without someone constantly trying to make it about themselves. No regrets, I said. Not even one. Alfred walked over and kissed my forehead, then Maya's. Good, he said. Because this, right here, this is exactly how it should be. And he was right. Our little family of 3 in our new home, 2 hours away from the spotlight stealers and drama queens. Peaceful, happy, ours. Exactly how it should be. So that's my story. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more family drama stories. Have you ever dealt with someone who always needs to be the center of attention? Share your stories in the comments below. I read every single one. And remember, it's okay to set boundaries with toxic family members, even if other people don't understand. Your peace of mind matters. See you in the next video.
If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Don't forget to follow for more content just like this. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.